Welcome back to the Patrick Reagan Show. Boy, that's a good lead-in song. A little head east there. That's from the 80s. I won't say that I remember that, but maybe I might be familiar with it.
Takes me back to rolling around Skate Town with a dill pickle and a suicide in my parachute pants.
I remember Skate Town over there. One on Broadway?
It's still there?
It's still, they always had the little lights they would light up so you skated backwards or couple skate. I never had a couple, so.
You could do the hokey pokey.
I couldn't do that. I wasn't that good on skates. I was doing good to make it around.
Well, the fun was watching people fall when they would do that.
I was over there playing with those video games.
As was I.
All right. Welcome back to the Patrick Reagan Show. This segment's usually too short to get too far into anything, so I usually use it to do a quick story or two that doesn't require too many comments. Not that I'm lazy, but I like to try and pack as much into the show as I can. What I want to do before I get to that, though, is to ask you to think about where we are in this country. Have you ever seen so much chaos in this country being caused by one entity in your life? This administration, and I'm including President Obama and his agencies and agency heads as well, the IRS, the NSA, the Justice Department, them along with most of the people in Congress have caused more racial problems, more economic problems. It seems as if they're constantly stirring up trouble. Now, why is this? Why try to create all of this animus towards your fellow citizens? Well, here's the answer. It's to make you draw closer to government, closer to the very thing whipping all of this up. When everything looks like it's going down the tubes, the government wants you to look to it for answers. It has effectively destroyed most families along with their communities with this government aid. So when you don't have a family to fall back on, well, who do you look to? The government. It's your new family. Everyone else is your enemy, but the government is here to provide for you. It's here to make things fair. It's the one that really cares about you. Just listen to these people's speeches. The presidents, the congressional people, the governors. We just played Governor Christie saying it's his first job to protect you and to care for you. Even down to the local level. Politicians telling you everything they're going to do for you because either you can't be trusted to do it for yourself or you can't be trusted to do it for yourself in the correct fashion as dictated by them. Where has our freedom and liberty gone? People say we need more manufacturing in this country, then things will turn around. You know, I've never seen freedom and liberty produced in a factory. Other countries have had huge manufacturing bases, but no freedom and liberty. A lot of military people will tell you guns and ammunition, ships, tanks, planes, bombs, those mean freedom. While those things can secure and defend freedom, they aren't freedom. If they were, the old Soviet Russia and today's China would have all kinds of freedom, but they don't. Religious people will tell you the problem is this country lacks good morals and virtue. If we just put up signs stating we believe in God, things will be better. No, God doesn't want your signs. He wants you. Making public displays of how much you, quote, respect him only gives you your reward here on earth. The truth of the matter is it really only makes things worse. If you put up a sign that says, "In God we trust," then don't do it. If you insist on trying to make everyone live according to how you think they should live, that's something even God doesn't do. He gives you the freedom to choose how you want to live. But you profess to follow his example and then don't. Which do you think is worse? Not saying anything and not following his example? Or proudly stating to the world you trust him, but then not being a good example of his teaching by minding your own business? Look, true freedom and liberty is a way of thought. It's a way of living. We had true freedom and liberty in this country long before we had anything else. Government's very existence demands we give up a small portion of our freedom in order to give it the permission to do the limited things it needs to do. Unfortunately, our government has run amok. It's become this huge monster that is devouring everything it can get its hands on. Government's like any other organization. It will continue to grow and grow as time goes on. That's why our founders limited its power with the Constitution. If we aren't going to go by the rules laid out in that document, then what good is it? In fact, you can hear some people in Congress stating it's outdated, that its time has passed. If you're making these kind of statements, do you really think they take their oath to defend it seriously? Real quickly, getting back to my original thought, the reason why the government is constantly stirring up trouble is so you'll look to it for solutions. You'll feel overwhelmed by everything happening, and government will look like that steady land in a sea of confusion. The government will increasingly be your answer. Just look at any problems that occur in your local community. The first place people turn, the first place is government. Not them, not their community, not their neighbors. Government. Why? Because I don't want to deal with it. And isn't that what we pay them for anyway? The government has brainwashed an entire generation of citizens into looking to it for protection, food, shelter, internet service, everything. This is what we're working against. No, we shouldn't have to, because we have a constitution which forbids the things government is doing. But I hope it's becoming obvious that our government is increasingly going to continue violating the limits laid out in that document. That's the goal, really, of this show in a nutshell, is to get you to think for yourself, to listen with an ear towards freedom and liberty, to question everything you're being told. There is so much money to be made in government that people are going to tell you anything they need to in order to stay in power. The good news is, though, government loses in the end. It can't survive without money, and eventually it'll run out. Just look at the old Soviet Union that collapsed under its own weight. You just have to be sure the same turkeys don't get back into office that screwed things up the first time. We're up on the end of the Patrick Riggins Show here. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've hit a bunch of stuff here. If you want more information about us, you can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Patrick Riggins Show. Riggins is Riggins. You can also go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com, again, /Patrick Riggins Show. And we have all the archive shows on there. In fact, this show will be on there this evening. And let's see what else. Oh, you can email us, patrickriggins@gmail.com. patrickriggins@gmail.com. And be sure and say hello to the NSA when you write us something. So join me next Saturday afternoon at 4 when we'll talk about freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. Yeah, that's it. 4 o'clock. I was making sure I had the right time. 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon here on News Talk 987 WOKI. Join us then.
Join us again next week for a solid dose of truth on the Patrick Riggins Show.